What an absolutely emotionally charged chapter this is, and I think that's part of the greatness of One Piece, is it just brings out that emotion. Man. One Piece, chapter 397, In Hopes of Reaching the Future.
Well, hello my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and heartfelt and really just emotionally charged tale of One Piece. And before I get into things over here, it really is. It's an emotionally charged story, and I think that's one of the reasons that it has so much in the way of popularity all around the world, and certainly, you know, especially in my household here. Just amazing how you can laugh and cry and be angry and be sad, and sometimes all in the same chapter or episode over a fictional story. But really, that's a credit to Oda, to the creator of this wonderful tale, and really just being able to masterfully weave all these different personalities, characters, character traits, backgrounds, histories, areas, and all put it into one cohesive plot and story that makes sense. Sometimes it seems like things move a little too slow, sometimes a little too fast, sometimes it's just right, but that's really all just a matter of preference or opinion, I guess you'd say. So our last chapter, of course, saw us with really things heating up as Ohara is being destroyed. Robin is trying to escape, well, of course, against her will. Saul is trying to help Robin escape, and as they wind up coming upon a warship that's very close to the shore, Saul takes a cannonball to the head, keeps on ticking, grabs the ship, and the chapter leaves off with him actually lifting the ship up and basically saying, "Don't fuck with my friends," you know. So that's how things left off, and that's right where things pick up. And as upset and hurt as I was about Robin's mother, Olvia, leaving her yet again in the last chapter, that's part of what I'm talking about with the emotion. For better or worse, whether you agree or disagree with my opinions, in the end, it doesn't make any difference, because what matters is what you feel and what your opinion is, you know. So if you felt angry or happy or sad in a particular chapter, that's, someone might feel entirely different. But I know that going from the last chapter, I was just so angry with Robin's mother, and really still am, but I've calmed a bit and tried to collect my thoughts, and cooler heads have prevailed, I guess you would say. So this chapter, though, it winds up starting off right where, of course, the last one left off, and Saul has got this ship, and he just fucking just pounds this thing into the water. And really, he's just saying, listen, Robin, you have to escape. You have to get on the evacuation ship. She doesn't want to, of course. She doesn't want to. It's, for her, everyone that she does know, and the people that do like being around her, as few as they are. I guess I shouldn't say that. All the archaeologists and scholars, they really enjoy her company, but the rest of the townsfolk treat her like a piece of shit. Her aunt and uncle and her cousin, just despicable as far as I'm concerned. And then, of course, not having a mother or father for pretty much most of her life that she can remember. Anyways, so she winds up going towards the evacuation ship, goes to try to actually get onto it. People are arguing, should we let her on, should we not? Wait, that's the daughter of Olvia, she's a wanted criminal, if we take her on board. And they're like, she's just a kid, and they're fighting. Anyway, she winds up going and attaching her, making a bunch of arms appear to attach to one another to make like a rope ladder almost to climb, to pull herself up. She's like, I can get up. And they wind up, they're like, oh, freak, monster, Anyway, Spandine goes and actually has a spyglass out, and, he spies her from a distance away and radios to the ship, the evacuation ship, do not let that girl on, this and that. And so they won't let her on, So anyway, so Saul and her go, and again, this is just a very sorrowful chapter, so if I wind up missing something or forgetting something, you're going to have to give me a pass on this one. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I read these and then I record them. I don't sit down and write out a review and figure out exactly where and edit and record 10 seconds of this and 30 seconds of that to make it look like I'm perfect and flawless in every way, because I'm certainly not. So, again, this is just a very emotionally charged chapter. But, as her and Saul are trying to get away, Admiral Aokiji and I call him AOK, winds up actually, he's Vice Admiral, of course, at the time. He winds up actually, seeing what's going on, well, hearing from, what's going on. It's Vice Admiral Saul, this and that. He's attacking one of our ships. And so Aokiji gets involved in it and winds up, nailing him with this cool-looking, like, ice spear, ice spike, or whatever, and it certainly slows him down. And what I really liked a lot in this chapter was these two and them just kind of facing off, but talking to one another in this conversation, Saul says, he's like, man, you can't agree with this. You have to understand this is not justice. This is not right. You're killing harmless, innocent people, And Aokiji goes, and it's kind of neat to see, because he doesn't really confirm nor deny that. He kind of says, he kind of admits that he knows what's going on isn't exactly right, but at the end of the day, if it winds up being for the betterment of the world, he's one of those guys that he seems like he's willing to sacrifice a few as long as he's promised that it's going to save the many, or maybe that's what he tells himself to sleep at night. I don't really know. But what I do know is that then they go, and all of a sudden and I forget his name over here because it's a weird pronunciation. Vice Admiral Sakazuki, and it says will later become Admiral. Is it Akayanu? Akayanu, I think. He winds up going and on his order destroying the evacuation ship, right? And his whole, and they show just a couple of dialogue boxes from him, and he's basically just of the mind of, hey, you know what? We're just going to wipe out any potential threat that there may be. We don't care if it's, something small now, it could be something big later, so we're just going to completely wipe everybody out, even the innocent civilians that thought that they were being evacuated on this evacuation ship. He goes and actually, destroys. And even Saul goes and says, you can't agree with that and this and that. And that's when, Aokiji says, don't be stupid. It isn't that I agree with it, it's just that this is how it is right now. And again, like I said, I think he tells himself that, maybe it's for the greater good. Maybe that's what helps him sleep at night, But nonetheless, just a very despicable act by another one of these world government officials. So, and as all this is happening, you got to picture, there's cannonballs coming in everywhere. There's cannon fire coming in. Shit's on fire. Trees are on fire. Scholars are trying to throw books out to save them. And honestly, at this point, when your whole island's going to burn and be annihilated by cannonballs, I think that's the point where you go and you try to keep what you have up in your head over here. You try to leave to fight another day. At least then you have a chance. Trying to save books, to me, possessions, that's it's like you hear about people that go and they wind up dying in a fire because they're trying to get their TV out and all these things that are important to them. They're just possessions. You cannot replace life. You can, however, replace possessions. You may not be able to exactly get those exact manuscripts from hundreds and thousands of years ago. However, if some of you were able to escape, you might be able to pull your knowledge and be able to actually somehow restore or rewrite some of those manuscripts, So I don't agree at all with the scholars staying and kind of going down with the ship, but still going and trying to go and save burning books, Get a clue, man. The island is under a barrage of cannon fire and is literally going to be wiped off the face of the planet. You might want to think about evacuating now, maybe being with a loved one, or maybe just, whatever it is that you do, whether you pray or, but certainly to me, saving books didn't seem like, wouldn't be top on my list. But I understand the thirst for knowledge and wanting to keep the past, but, ultimately the past is in the past, it's history, and unfortunately you can never go back and live it again. So I understand, because I'm a person who, throughout my lifetime, unfortunately, I've lost some possessions because of things. And it hurt me very badly, for a period of time, because I thought, man, this just sucks, and I can never this, and I can never. But at the end of the day, I lived on. The possessions did not, but I did, and I look at that as that's a better it's a better outcome. But at any rate, we wind up seeing it, and it's very tearful and sorrowful as we go back to Saul and Aokiji. He goes and grabs Robin and tries to run with her, And Aokiji's like, listen, man, I may not agree with what you can have whatever sense of justice you want to have. People believe in different things. Your perspective changes, he says, but I cannot let you go and interfere. I can't let an ex-Navy person, an ex-Vice Admiral go and stop this buster call that was called down from up above. I just have to follow my orders. So as Saul winds up going away, he hits him with this ice time capsule or whatever. And Robin, and he winds up kind of falling forward and dropping Robin in front of him. And, he's just, Robin, go. And you can see that he's just starting to freeze up over everywhere, And this is the most sorrowful part of the actual chapter, I think. It's the part that got me tearing up and had me crying a bit. It was, you know, he tells her, and the theme of this is so cool because it runs through to the whole entire theme of the series, which is the Straw Hats and the camaraderie and the bond of friendship that they all have amongst one another. And he goes and he says, Robin, go on. What did your mother want you to do? She wanted you to live on, right? She wanted you to live on. You have to live on, and I know that you feel like you have no one now. There's nobody, because, you know, he tells her, take my raft, go out to sea, you know, and this and that. Don't worry, you'll be fine. And she's like, I don't have anyone. There's nobody, right? And she's a kid. She's an 8-year-old kid. You got to keep all that in mind, too. But Saul goes and he says, and this is what really rang true to me, is that don't worry. Somewhere, it's a big world out there. It's a big world, and somewhere, someplace, you're gonna find friends, and those friends are gonna care about you, and they're gonna love you, and they're gonna do anything for you. They'd even die for you. And it's such a great theme when you think about it, and it's what really had tears well at my eyes, because he's saying this with his dying breath, right? He's saying this with his last couple of dying breaths, as, you know, as he's freezing over. He's got nothing left, and he's like, I'm done, I'm cornered, I'm done, but this is what I need you to do. Even when you're down, I need you to go. And she's kind of having little flashbacks of different things from when they met. And even though it's such a short time that they met, you know, and there's just a few chapters of the flashback, it rings so true. And, you know, and then just that you just got to laugh when you get, you know, Dereshi Shishi, Dereshi Shishi, you know. And she always thought it was a goofy laugh. So, you know, something that can make her smile. And it really does ring true to, you know, with happiness. And sometimes even when you are upset, just smiling or just laughing about something can really just change your mood and can make your mood that much better. And I'm not talking about the 1% or the small percentage that actually have a mental illness and need to be medicated or have therapy for depression, things like that. That's not what I'm talking about. And unfortunately, some of you take that out of context. When I say something, I'm saying it, and I'm saying it that for the majority of people, there's always going to be a small percentage of people that really do have an issue with something, and they just cannot get over their depression. They cannot get over their negativity. They just cannot seem to be happy without therapy, without medication, without others, whatever it may be that they need. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, in general, for the majority of the population, when shit is going downhill, if you can smile or laugh about things, trust me, even in the darkest of times, it can make it seem like there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, you know, and I can tell you that from experience. But all in all, though, the chapter is just, again, heart-wrenching. I mean, the end of it is, of course, Saul, you know, Saul, yeah, she's going away, she's trying to run away, and Saul is dying, you know, and then you see the scholars and what they're doing and trying to save the books and everything else, and you see, you know, Olvia, and, you know, she seems like she actually has some regret that she left her daughter once again to save books, and she's talking about, you know, I'm not even fit to be your mother and this and that, and I understand all that because I don't believe she is either with the choices that she's made, you know, choosing history over family, but that's besides the point. The chapter winds up ending off, and Robin goes and actually comes upon Aokiji as she's going to the raft, you know, and he goes and I like what he says to her. He says, listen, he says, I'm going to let you go. He says, you know, I kind of want to see how this plays out, and what Saul was so hell-bent on sacrificing himself to make sure you lived on, that I'm going to go and kind of fulfill that wish. But I love how he says this too. He says, but make no mistake, we are not allies, okay? We are not friends, we are not allies, and you basically want to go and disappear, because as soon as you're not, or you become on the radar, I'll be the first to be coming after your ass, you know? So whether you love or hate Aokiji, I certainly like the character more now. He went and he actually took and made these 2 ice trails for her to stay in between, these little like ice lines, I guess you'd say, out into the sea. She says, take that raft that direction, take your little raft there, you'll eventually hit landfall, but then disappear. You know, because again, make no mistake, we are not friends. You know, we are not allies, and that I actually kind of like that, because you know, on one hand, he's like, listen, I'm trying to do what I think can be the right thing here, but on the other hand, I can't let anybody know what I'm doing, and I'm not going to be your best friend, so don't think that we're going to be hanging out and having birthday parties together, you know. So at the end of it, you know, she goes in, and as Robin's she's just bawling over here. She's on the raft. Oops, there we go. She's on the raft, she's crying. I mean, of course, she's lost her mother, she's lost her home, she's lost everything. As you see her on there, and she's just trying to go, and Dereshishi, you know, and she's trying, and she's coughing, she's got the snot running down her face, and she probably can't even breathe right because she's been crying so hard. And Dereshishi, you know. And like I said, for me, what was imparted upon me in this one was really that, obviously for Robin, that no matter what, in your darkest of times, this is dark for her. This is terrible, right? But it's gonna go up from here. It's gonna get better. You're going to find people, and those people are gonna care about you. And that's what I like, because that obviously ties into what's going on, and just the strength and just the conviction with which the Straw Hats are coming after her to rescue her. You know, and that's what this arc seems to be all about, and of course a lot of world government involvement as well. But anyway, just an absolutely wonderful chapter. My chapter question for you, brothers and sisters, is what were your thoughts on Aokiji and letting Robin go? And then, of course, Saul's sacrifice as well. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on that. And I'd personally just like to thank you all from the bottom of my heart, from myself and my family to you, for certainly following along, joining me, and watching me kind of dance around in front of the camera here and give my thoughts, sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes you agree with me, sometimes you don't, sometimes you love me, sometimes you hate me, and that's fine, but I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. So leave your answer to those questions in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation. Thanks for watching, brothers and sisters, from my family to yours.